You're walking through a store. Maybe you're looking for something specific. Maybe you're just passing time. Then you see it. A jacket. A gadget. A pair of shoes. You weren't thinking about this thing 5 minutes ago. But now, standing here, it feels important. You pick it up. You look at the price. You think for a moment. And then you buy it. Later at home, the bag sits on your chair. The excitement is already fading. You think, why did I buy this? I didn't even need it. But in that moment, in the store, it felt right. It felt necessary. This happens to almost everyone. We buy things we don't really need. Sometimes small things, sometimes big things. And afterward, we wonder why. If you've ever felt this, you're not alone. Understanding why this happens can change how we think about shopping, about wanting, and about what actually makes us feel good. If you like these kinds of conversations, subscribing helps more people discover them. But more importantly, stay because what we're going to explore might change how you see that next shopping moment. Here's what's interesting. We all know we do this. We all know that new thing won't actually change our lives, but we keep doing it anyway. Why? The answer isn't simple. It's not just about being weak or careless with money. Something deeper is happening. Something in how our minds work and what we're really searching for. Think about the last thing you bought that you didn't plan to buy. Do you remember how it felt right before you decided? There was probably a feeling. Not just, I want this. Something more. Maybe excitement. Maybe hope. Maybe a sense that this thing would make something better. That feeling is where our journey starts. Because when we buy things we don't need, we're not really buying the thing. We're buying what we think the thing will give us. We're buying a feeling. We're buying a version of ourselves. We're buying a solution to something we might not even fully understand. Let me tell you about Marcus. He's a regular guy, works in an office, has a normal life. One Saturday, he went to buy a phone charger. Just a charger, nothing else. He walked out with the charger, a new backpack, a book he'd never heard of, and a fancy water bottle. He spent 10 times what he planned. On the way home, he felt confused. He already had a backpack. He barely reads physical books anymore. He had 3 water bottles at home. But in the store, each item made sense. The backpack was on sale. The book had an interesting cover. The water bottle would help him drink more water and be healthier. Each purchase had a reason, a story, a promise. This is how it works. We don't usually buy things for no reason. We always have a reason. The question is, what's the real reason? What are we actually looking for? Over the next 40 minutes or so, we're going to walk through this together. Not to make you feel bad about buying things. Not to say shopping is wrong, but to understand what's really happening. Because when you understand it, you have a choice. You can still buy things, but you'll know why. And that changes everything. We'll look at what happens in your brain when you shop. We'll explore what advertisements are really selling. We'll talk about the feelings underneath the wanting, and we'll find some simple ways to pause, to notice, to choose differently if you want to. By the end, you might see that shopping moment in a completely new way. You might understand yourself a little better. And that understanding is worth more than anything you could buy. So let's start with a question. When you buy something, what are you really hoping it will give you? Not the obvious answer. Not, I need shoes so my feet don't hurt. The deeper answer, what feeling are you chasing? Next, we'll explore the promise of happiness and why buying things feels like it will make us feel better. We'll look at what we think shopping will do for us and why that thought is so powerful. When you hold something new in your hands, there's a moment of possibility. This jacket might make you feel confident. This book might make you smarter. This gadget might make your life easier. In that moment, the thing you're holding isn't just an object. It's a promise. We don't usually think about it this way. We think we're just buying a thing. But listen to how we talk about shopping. This will be perfect for, I'll finally be able to. This is exactly what I need to. We're not describing an object. We're describing a future, a better future, a future where we're somehow more complete. Think about that for a moment. When was the last time you bought something and thought it would improve your life in some way? Maybe you bought workout clothes imagining yourself exercising more. Maybe you bought an expensive notebook, imagining yourself writing in it every day. Maybe you bought a kitchen tool, imagining yourself cooking healthy meals. The thing itself wasn't the point. The point was who you would become with that thing. A person who exercises, a person who writes, a person who cooks. The purchase was really a purchase of identity, of hope, of change. This is why shopping feels so good. It's not just about getting something, it's about becoming something, and that feeling is incredibly powerful. Let me tell you about Sophia. She worked long hours at a job that stressed her out. Every few weeks, she'd buy new clothes. Not because she needed them. Her closet was full. But shopping made her feel better. When she bought a new dress, she imagined wearing it somewhere special. When she bought a new shirt, she imagined feeling confident at work. The clothes represented a life that felt lighter, happier, more beautiful than the one she was living. The strange thing? She rarely wore most of what she bought. The clothes would sit in her closet with the tags still on. But the good feeling happened at the purchase, not at the wearing. The promise was enough. The hope was enough. Actually using the thing wasn't really the point. This happens with so many things. We buy books we don't read. We buy gym equipment we don't use. We buy ingredients we don't cook. We buy tools we don't touch. But in the moment of buying, we believe. We believe this time will be different. We believe this purchase will unlock something in us. And here's what makes it even more powerful. Sometimes it works. Sometimes we do use the thing. Sometimes we do become that person, at least for a little while. You bought running shoes and you did run for a few weeks. You bought that course and you did learn something. You bought that plant and you did take care of it, at least at first. These small successes teach us that buying can lead to change. They reinforce the pattern. They make us believe that the next purchase might be the one that really sticks, the one that really transforms us. But notice something. The transformation never comes from the object itself. It comes from your decision, your effort, your consistency. The running shoes don't make you a runner. Running makes you a runner. The shoes are just there. Yet we keep believing in the magic of the purchase. Why? Because believing feels good. Hoping feels good. Imagining a better version of ourselves feels good. And buying something is the easiest way to touch that feeling, even if just for a moment. In a world that often feels hard, where change feels slow and difficult, shopping offers something immediate. You can't become a new person in 10 minutes, but you can buy something that represents that new person in 10 minutes. And for a moment, that feels almost the same. The stores know this. The websites know this. They're not really selling you things. They're selling you the person you want to be. They're selling you the life you wish you had. They show you images of people who look happy, confident, successful, relaxed. And they suggest quietly that owning this thing is what made them that way. A watch isn't just a watch. It's success. A skincare product isn't just cream. It's beauty and confidence. A car isn't just transportation. It's freedom and status. A phone isn't just a device. It's connection and being part of something current. We know logically that this isn't quite true. We know a watch won't make us successful. But emotionally, the promise feels real. And in the moment of wanting, emotion is stronger than logic. Here's something to notice in your own life. Next time you really want to buy something, pause. Ask yourself, what do I think this will give me? Not the practical thing, the feeling, the identity, the change. Just notice it. You don't have to do anything about it. Just see it clearly. Because once you see the promise for what it is, something shifts. The power of it loosens just a little. You start to see the difference between the hope and the reality, between the story and the truth. Next, we'll look at what's actually happening in your brain when you shop. There's a chemical reason why buying feels so good. Understanding it helps explain why we keep coming back to shopping, even when we know better. Let's explore the chemistry of wanting. Your brain is incredible at making you feel things: happiness, excitement, anticipation. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're chemicals, real substances moving through your brain, creating sensations in your body. And shopping triggers one of the most powerful ones. It's called dopamine. You might have heard this word before. People sometimes call it the happiness chemical. But that's not quite right. Dopamine isn't about happiness. It's about wanting. It's about anticipation. It's about the moment before you get something, not the moment after. Here's how it works. Imagine you're browsing online. You see something interesting. Maybe it's something you've been thinking about. Maybe it's something new. Your brain recognizes possibility, potential reward, and it releases dopamine. You feel a little rush, a little excitement. This is your brain saying, "This might be good, pay attention." That feeling makes you click, makes you look closer, makes you imagine having it. And with each step closer to buying, the dopamine increases. You're reading the description. You're looking at pictures. You're imagining it in your life. The anticipation builds. The feeling gets stronger. Then you click buy. You enter your information. You confirm the purchase, and right there in that moment, your dopamine peaks. It feels amazing. You feel satisfied, accomplished, happy. But here's the interesting part. Here's what explains so much about why we keep buying things we don't need. The dopamine doesn't last. Within minutes, sometimes even seconds, it starts to fade. The excitement of the purchase gives way to normal feeling, sometimes even to a slightly empty feeling. When the package arrives, there's a small bump of dopamine again. You open it, you look at the thing, but it's never quite as exciting as the moment of buying. The anticipation was better than the reality. The wanting was better than the having. Let me tell you about James. He loved buying tech gadgets, new headphones, new keyboards, new devices. He'd spend hours researching, comparing, imagining which one to buy. The research itself felt exciting. Then he'd make the purchase and feel fantastic for about 10 minutes. When the gadget arrived, he'd use it for a few days. Then it would become just another thing. Normal, unremarkable. And he'd start looking for the next gadget to buy. James wasn't unusual. He was experiencing exactly what dopamine does. It makes the pursuit feel incredible. But it's not designed to make the achievement feel incredible. That's not its job. Its job is to motivate you to seek, to hunt, to acquire. Once you have the thing, dopamine's work is done. It moves on to the next possibility. This is actually useful for survival. Imagine our ancestors thousands of years ago. Dopamine motivated them to find food, to explore, to search for resources. If they found food and felt satisfied forever, they'd stop looking. They'd starve. So the satisfaction fades quickly, and the desire to search returns. This kept them alive. But in the modern world, this same system creates a problem. We're not searching for food we need to survive. We're searching for things to buy, and there's always something to buy. Always. The next thing is always there, ready to promise that feeling again. This is why you can buy something on Monday and want something else by Friday. The dopamine cycle resets. The anticipation is available again. Your brain is ready to feel that rush again, and shopping is the easiest way to trigger it. Online shopping makes this even stronger. You don't have to leave your house, you don't have to drive anywhere. You can trigger dopamine with just a few clicks, and websites are designed to maximize this. They show you recommendations, they show you reviews, they show you limited time offers. All of this triggers more dopamine, more wanting, more anticipation. Every notification, your order is being prepared. Dopamine. Your order has shipped. Dopamine. Your order will arrive today. Dopamine. The whole process is designed to keep that chemical flowing, to keep you engaged, to keep you coming back. And here's something important to understand. This isn't about being weak. This isn't about lacking willpower. This is chemistry. This is your brain doing exactly what it evolved to do. Dopamine is powerful. It's supposed to be powerful. That's how it motivates behavior. But knowing this changes things. When you feel that rush of wanting something, you can recognize it. You can think, oh, that's dopamine. That's my brain getting excited about possibility. And just naming it, just seeing it clearly, gives you a moment of space, a moment to choose, because the feeling will fade. Whether you buy the thing or not, the dopamine will decrease. If you buy it, you'll feel good briefly, then normal. If you don't buy it, you'll feel the want intensely for a little while, then it will fade too. Either way, you return to baseline. Knowing this makes the urgency feel less urgent. Think about something you really wanted a few months ago, something you maybe even bought. How do you feel about it now? Probably pretty neutral. It's just a thing now. The magic is gone. But in that moment of wanting, it felt so important. That was dopamine talking. Your brain will keep doing this. That's okay. That's normal. But you can learn to recognize the voice of dopamine. You can learn to distinguish between the excitement of anticipation and actual need, between the chemical rush and genuine value. Next time you feel that pull to buy something, notice the physical sensation. Notice the excitement in your chest. Notice how your mind speeds up, jumping to imagine having it. That's chemistry. That's your brain doing its thing. And you can appreciate the feeling without having to act on it. You can let the dopamine rise and fall like a wave without needing to buy something to ride it. Next, we'll look at how stores and advertisements use this knowledge. They understand your brain better than you might think. They know how to trigger these feelings on purpose. Understanding their methods helps you see through them. Let's explore the stories products tell us. Open any magazine, watch any commercial, scroll through any website. You'll notice something. They're rarely just showing you a product. They're showing you a story, a life, a feeling. And somewhere in that story, the product appears, like it's the reason everything looks so good. There's a couple laughing on a beach. They're holding a certain brand of drink. There's a man in a suit walking confidently through a city. He's wearing a certain watch. There's a woman looking peaceful in a beautiful home. She's using a certain kind of furniture. The message is never said directly, but it's always there. This thing will give you this life. Advertising is a $100 billion industry. These companies spend enormous amounts of money studying what makes people buy, and they've learned something important. Facts don't sell, feelings do, stories do, identity does. They don't tell you the phone has a good camera. They show you someone capturing a perfect moment with their family. They don't tell you the car is reliable. They show you someone driving to an adventure, feeling free. They don't tell you the clothes are well made. They show you someone wearing them, looking confident and attractive. The product becomes a character in a story about the life you want. And your brain makes a connection, not a logical connection, an emotional one. If I have that thing, maybe I can have that feeling. Maybe I can be that person. Let me tell you about Diana. She saw an advertisement for a fancy coffee machine. The ad showed a calm morning, sunlight coming through a window. A woman in comfortable clothes, smiling, making coffee slowly. Everything looked peaceful and intentional. Diana's mornings were rushed and stressful. She bought the coffee machine thinking it would change her mornings. The machine arrived. It was nice, but her mornings didn't change. She still rushed. She still felt stressed. The coffee tasted good, but the peaceful feeling from the advertisement never came. Because the advertisement wasn't selling a coffee machine. It was selling a lifestyle, a feeling, a version of morning that existed in a story, not in reality. This is what advertisements do. They take your real desires, your real feelings, and they attach those feelings to products. You want to feel confident? This clothing brand shows confident people. You want to feel successful? This car brand shows successful people. You want to feel loved? This jewelry brand shows people in love. And they're very careful about it. They don't show normal people having normal days. They show idealized versions. Everyone is attractive. Everyone is happy. The lighting is perfect. The setting is beautiful. Nothing is messy or complicated or difficult. The product exists in a perfect world, and the suggestion is that buying it brings you closer to that world. Here's what makes it so powerful. You know it's not real. On some level, you understand that buying a coffee machine won't transform your mornings. But the emotional part of your brain doesn't care about logic. It cares about feeling. And the feeling of hope, of possibility, is real, even if the promise isn't. Think about perfume commercials. Have you ever noticed how strange they are? Beautiful people in dramatic situations, abstract visuals, poetic language. None of it explains what the perfume smells like, because that's not the point. They're not selling a smell. They're selling mystery, romance, sophistication, desire. The perfume is just the vessel for those feelings. Or think about car commercials. They rarely show traffic. They rarely show parking lots or repair shops or payments. They show open roads, mountains, deserts, freedom, adventure. The car becomes a symbol of escape, of possibility, of a life less ordinary. Even though most people will drive that car to work, to the grocery store, to the same places they always go, the companies know something important about human nature. We don't just want things. We want to feel a certain way. We want to be a certain kind of person. And if a product can represent that feeling, that identity, we'll buy it. Not because we need the thing itself, but because we need what it symbolizes. This is why brands are so valuable. A brand isn't just a name. It's a collection of associations, of feelings, of stories. Two similar products can have very different values because of their brand. Because one brand tells a story that appeals to you, and the other doesn't. You might pay more for a certain brand of shoes not because they're better quality, but because wearing them says something about who you are, or who you want to be. The brand becomes part of your identity, and identity is priceless. That's what you're actually buying. Social media made this even stronger. Now it's not just companies telling stories, it's people you know. You see someone's photos, their life looks good. They have certain things, certain clothes, certain devices, certain experiences, and you think, maybe if I had those things, my life would look like that too. Feel like that too. But here's what you don't see. You don't see the normal moments, the boring days, the struggles, the times when having that thing didn't matter at all. You see the highlight, the story, the image that got posted, and your brain treats it like reality. Companies use this too. They pay people to use their products and share them, to tell stories about them, to make them part of an aspirational life. And it works because it doesn't feel like advertising. It feels like real life, like proof that the product delivers what it promises. But pause and think. How many things have you bought because they represented something, because they fit into a story about who you wanted to be? And how many of those things actually changed your life in the way you hoped? The gap between the promise and the reality, that's where understanding lives. When you can see the story as just a story, when you can recognize that you're being sold a feeling, not a thing, you gain power. You can still buy things, but you're buying them clearly, consciously. Not because you believe the story, but because you actually want or need the thing itself. Next, we'll look deeper. We'll explore what's underneath all of this wanting. Because shopping isn't really about shopping. It's about something else, something we're trying to fix or fill or soothe. Let's look at the hole we try to fill. There's a feeling that's hard to describe. It's not quite sadness, not quite boredom. It's a kind of emptiness, a restlessness, a sense that something is missing, even when you can't name what it is. And when that feeling appears, shopping can feel like a solution. You're scrolling through your phone. Nothing interesting is happening. You feel a little flat, a little disconnected. Then you open a shopping app. Suddenly there's color, possibility, things to look at, things to imagine. The emptiness fills, at least for a moment. Or maybe you had a hard day. Someone criticized your work. You felt small or inadequate. On the way home, you stop at a store. You buy something nice. And for a little while, you feel better. Like you did something good for yourself. Like you deserve this small pleasure after a difficult day. Shopping becomes a tool, a way to manage feelings, a way to create a little happiness when life feels hard. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes a small purchase really does brighten your day. But often, we're using shopping to cover something deeper, to avoid something uncomfortable, to fill a space that can't actually be filled by things. Let me tell you about Kevin. He lived alone in a new city. He didn't know many people yet. His job was fine, but not exciting. Most evenings he felt lonely. So he'd shop online. He'd buy clothes, gadgets, decorations for his apartment. Each purchase gave him something to look forward to. A package arriving was like getting a gift. It made his apartment feel less empty, at least temporarily. But Kevin noticed something. The more he bought, the lonelier he felt. His apartment was full of things, but the feeling he was trying to fix wasn't about having things. It was about connection, about meaning, about feeling like he belonged somewhere. No amount of shopping could give him that. But shopping was easier than facing the real feeling, easier than admitting he was lonely, easier than doing the harder work of meeting people and building a life. This is what shopping often does. It's a shortcut, a substitute. When we feel stressed, shopping gives us a moment of control and pleasure. When we feel bored, shopping gives us stimulation and interest. When we feel inadequate, shopping gives us a sense of improvement and possibility. When we feel invisible, shopping gives us attention from salespeople or likes on social media. But it's temporary. It's surface level. It doesn't address what's really happening underneath. It's like drinking water when you're hungry. It fills your stomach for a moment, but it doesn't give you what you actually need. Think about the times you most want to shop. Are you happy and content, or are you feeling something uncomfortable? Often the urge to buy comes when we're trying to escape a feeling. Anxiety, comparison, disappointment, emptiness. Social media makes this worse. You see other people's lives, their vacations, their homes, their successes, and you feel behind. You feel less than. You feel like you're not doing life right. So you shop. If you can't have the life they have, at least you can have things. At least you can look like you're keeping up. This is comparison, and it's painful. It makes you feel like you're lacking something essential. And shopping promises to fix that lack. New clothes make you feel more stylish. New furniture makes your home feel more impressive. New experiences make your life feel more interesting. But the comparison never really stops. Because there's always someone with more, with better, with newer. Sarah felt this constantly. She'd see her friends posting pictures from restaurants, trips, events. Their lives looked full and exciting. Hers felt small. So she'd buy things to post too. A new outfit, a nice meal, something aesthetic for her apartment. She'd photograph it, post it, wait for reactions. The likes felt good. They made her feel seen, valid, like she was doing okay too. But she was spending money she didn't really have. And more than that, she was exhausted. Exhausted from performing, from trying to keep up, from pretending her life was something it wasn't. The things she bought weren't making her happier. They were making her more anxious. Sometimes the hole we're trying to fill is stress. Life feels overwhelming. There's too much to do, too much to think about. Shopping is a break. It's something easy and pleasant. You don't have to solve anything or figure anything out. You just browse, choose, buy. It's simple. It feels productive, even though you're not actually accomplishing anything important. Other times, it's about self-worth. You don't feel good about yourself. You feel like you're not enough in some way. So you buy things to improve, to fix, to become better. a course to learn something new, supplements to be healthier, clothes to look more put together. Each purchase is an investment in a future version of you, a version that's more successful, more attractive, more capable. But here's the truth that's hard to accept. You are enough right now. Not because you have the right things, not because you look a certain way or know certain things, just because you're human, just because you exist. The hole you feel isn't because you lack objects, it's because somewhere along the way, you learn to measure your worth by external things instead of internal ones. Shopping can't fix that. Only you can fix that, by recognizing the feeling, by sitting with it instead of covering it, by asking what you really need. Not what thing you need, but what emotional need isn't being met. Connection, rest, purpose, validation, excitement, and then finding real ways to meet that need, ways that actually work, ways that last. If you're lonely, buying things won't help. Reaching out to someone will. If you're bored, buying things won't help. Finding something meaningful to do will. If you feel inadequate, buying things won't help. Building real skills and accepting yourself will. This isn't easy. It's much easier to buy something. But the easy path leads to a closet full of things and a heart still feeling empty. The harder path, the one where you face the real feelings and address them honestly, that's the path that actually leads somewhere good. Next, we'll look at why we keep repeating this pattern even when we know it doesn't really help. There's a cycle that keeps us trapped. Understanding it is the first step to breaking free. Let's explore the cycle that keeps repeating. You know the feeling. You've been here before. You bought something last week, maybe last month. It felt good for a moment, then faded. You told yourself you'd stop. You'd be more careful. You'd only buy what you really need. And then a few days pass and you're doing it again. Browsing, wanting, buying. Why does this keep happening? It's because shopping isn't just one action. It's a cycle, a loop that feeds itself. And once you're in it, getting out is harder than it seems. Understanding the cycle helps you see where you are in it. And seeing clearly is the first step to choosing differently. The cycle has stages. It starts with a trigger. Something happens that creates an uncomfortable feeling. You're stressed, you're bored, you see something that makes you feel inadequate. You have a difficult conversation. You feel tired or overwhelmed. The feeling itself isn't about shopping, but your brain remembers that shopping helped before, at least temporarily. So you move to stage 2. The urge. You start thinking about buying something, maybe something specific, maybe just the idea of looking. Your mind offers reasons. You deserve a treat. You've been working hard. You need this thing anyway. Everyone has one. It's on sale. The reasons sound logical, but they're really just your brain trying to get back to that dopamine feeling we talked about earlier. Then comes stage 3. The search. You start looking, maybe online, maybe in stores. This part feels productive. You're researching, you're comparing, you're being smart about it. But really, you're already committed. The decision to buy has mostly been made. You're just finding the right thing to satisfy the urge. Stage 4 is the purchase. You click the button. You hand over your card. There's that rush, that moment of satisfaction. You did it. You have it, or it's coming. You feel good. Accomplished. The uncomfortable feeling from the beginning is gone, covered by this new, pleasant feeling. But then comes stage 5. The fade. Hours pass, maybe a day or two. The excitement wears off. The item arrives or you bring it home and it's just a thing. Nice maybe. Useful maybe. But not magical. Not transformative. Not as satisfying as you imagined. You feel neutral. Or maybe even a little guilty. A little disappointed. And here's where the cycle closes. Stage 6. The return to normal. You go back to your regular life, the thing becomes part of the background. You forget about it. Until the next trigger happens, the next uncomfortable feeling, and your brain remembers, shopping helped last time. Shopping made me feel better. Even though it didn't really. Even though the relief was temporary. The brain remembers the good part and forgets the disappointing part. So the cycle starts again. Trigger, urge, search, purchase, fade, return, over and over. Each time reinforcing the pattern. Each time making it more automatic. Let me tell you about Rachel. She worked in a stressful job. Every time she had a hard week, she'd reward herself with shopping. It became a pattern. Bad week equals shopping trip. The shopping felt like self-care, like she was being kind to herself. But her apartment was filling with things she barely used. Her credit card debt was growing, and the hard weeks kept happening because shopping didn't actually reduce her stress. It just distracted from it. Rachel was stuck in the cycle, and she couldn't understand why she kept doing it when she knew it wasn't helping. The reason is this. The cycle operates partly below conscious thought. It becomes a habit. Trigger leads automatically to urge leads automatically to action. Your conscious mind isn't really deciding anymore. Your automatic mind is running the pattern. This is how all habits work. Not just shopping. Your brain loves patterns. Patterns are efficient. They save energy. When something works once, your brain wants to repeat it. And works doesn't mean it's good for you long term. It just means it gave you something in the moment. Relief, pleasure, distraction. That's enough for your brain to encode it as useful. Breaking the cycle requires interrupting it. And the best place to interrupt is between the trigger and the urge. That's the moment of power. Before the urge becomes strong. Before your brain starts generating reasons. Before you're already browsing. But most people try to interrupt at the wrong place. They try to stop themselves at the purchase moment. They stand there with the thing in their hand or the checkout page open trying to decide. And at that point, it's hard. The urge is strong. The dopamine is already flowing. The stories are already in your head. You've already invested time and emotional energy. It's like trying to stop a car that's already moving fast. Possible, but it takes a lot of force. Better to notice when you're just starting to press the gas. When you're in that early moment of trigger, of uncomfortable feeling, before shopping even enters your mind. Here's what that looks like. You feel stressed. Right there. That's the moment. Instead of reaching for your phone to browse, you pause. You notice. I feel stressed. My mind is looking for relief. Just naming it creates space. Just seeing it clearly gives you a choice. You can still choose to shop, but now you're choosing consciously. You're not on autopilot. You're not in the automatic cycle. You're present with the feeling and the decision. And often, just that awareness is enough to make you realize you don't actually need to buy anything. You just need to acknowledge what you're feeling. The cycle is strong because it's been repeated many times. Each repetition makes it stronger, like a path through the woods. The more you walk it, the clearer it becomes, the easier it is to follow without thinking. Breaking it means creating a new path, and the new path will feel uncomfortable at first, unfamiliar. Your brain will try to pull you back to the familiar pattern, but here's what's hopeful. Every time you interrupt the cycle, you weaken it. Every time you pause and choose differently, the pattern loosens a little. It's not about being perfect. It's not about never shopping. It's about breaking the automatic nature of it, about bringing consciousness to the process. Think about your own cycle. Can you see it? The triggers that lead to shopping, the feelings you're trying to manage, the pattern that repeats. Just seeing it is powerful. You can't change what you can't see. But once you see it clearly, change becomes possible. Next, we'll look at practical ways to break the pattern. Simple things you can do in that moment of wanting. Questions you can ask yourself. Ways to create that pause, that space, that moment of choice. Let's explore breaking the pattern. Breaking a pattern doesn't require massive willpower. It doesn't require becoming a different person. It requires small interruptions, small moments of awareness, small questions that create space between the urge and the action. Let's look at what you can actually do when you feel that pull to buy something. The first tool is the pause. When you notice the urge, stop for just 10 seconds. Don't think about whether you should buy it or not. Don't argue with yourself. Just breathe. Count to 10. Look away from the screen or the item. This tiny pause interrupts the automatic momentum. It gives your conscious mind a chance to catch up with your automatic mind. During that pause, you can use the second tool. The question. Ask yourself something simple. What am I actually feeling right now? Not, do I need this thing? That question invites arguments and justifications. But, what am I feeling? That question is honest. It goes underneath the shopping urge to what's really happening. Maybe you realize you're bored. Maybe you're anxious. Maybe you're avoiding something. Maybe you just saw someone else with something nice and you feel less than. Whatever it is, naming it changes it. The feeling loses some of its power when you see it clearly. Let me tell you about Michael. He loved buying books. His shelves were full of books he hadn't read. But every time he saw an interesting book, he wanted to buy it. One day, he tried the pause. He was about to buy another book online. He stopped. He waited. He asked himself what he was feeling. The answer surprised him. He felt anxious about a project at work. The book wasn't really about the book. It was about escaping that anxiety for a moment. Seeing that clearly changed everything. He still wanted the book. But the urgency faded. He realized buying it wouldn't help with the work project. It would just delay dealing with it. So he closed the shopping tab and opened his work document instead. He faced the thing he was avoiding, and the urge to buy the book disappeared. The third tool is the wait test. Tell yourself you can buy it, just not right now. If you still want it in 24 hours or even just a few hours, you can come back to it. This takes away the feeling of deprivation. You're not saying no forever. You're just saying not immediately. What happens during that wait is interesting. Often you forget about it. The urge passes. The thing that felt so important becomes irrelevant. Your brain moves on to other things. And when you remember it later, you wonder why you wanted it so much. The dopamine has faded. The story has lost its appeal. You see the item as just an item, not a solution or a promise. Sometimes you come back and still want it. That's okay too. At least now you know it's not just an impulse, it's something you've thought about, something you've chosen consciously. And that makes all the difference. Conscious purchases rarely lead to regret. Impulsive ones often do. The fourth tool is the replacement question. Instead of should I buy this, ask what do I actually need right now? Not need in terms of objects, but need in terms of real human needs. Do you need rest? Do you need connection? Do you need movement? Do you need creative expression? Do you need to feel capable? When you identify the real need, you can meet it directly. If you need rest, buying something won't give you rest. Lying down will. If you need connection, buying something won't give you connection. Calling someone will. Shopping often feels like it meets needs, but it rarely does. It's a substitute for the real thing. Here's the fifth tool, and it's simple. Keep a list, not a shopping list. A things I almost bought list. Every time you want to buy something but decide to wait, write it down. Just the item and the date. After a month, look at the list. You'll probably be surprised. Most of those things will seem completely unimportant now. You won't even remember why you wanted them. This list becomes proof that urges pass, that waiting works, that you don't actually need most of what you think you need in the moment. The sixth tool is about environment. Make shopping slightly harder. Delete shopping apps from your phone. Unsubscribe from promotional emails. Avoid stores when you're bored or emotional. You're not trying to make shopping impossible. You're just removing the immediate ease of it. When shopping requires a few extra steps, those steps give you time to think, time to choose, time to remember what you actually value. Maria used this tool. She realized she shopped most when she was scrolling through social media and saw ads, so she deleted the shopping apps from her phone. If she wanted to buy something, she had to go to her computer. That small barrier was enough. By the time she got to her computer, the urge had often faded. And when it hadn't, she knew it was something she really wanted, not just an impulse. The seventh tool is the cost translation. Before buying something, translate the cost into time. How many hours did you work to earn that money? If something costs $60 and you make $20 an hour, that's 3 hours of your life. Is the thing worth 3 hours of your time? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But seeing it as time instead of just money changes how you value it. And here's the eighth tool, maybe the most important. Practice gratitude for what you already have, not in a forced way, just genuinely noticing. You already have clothes. You already have a place to live. You already have things that work. When you feel the urge to buy, look around at what's already there. Remember when you wanted those things. Remember when they were new and exciting. This isn't about feeling guilty for wanting more. It's about recognizing abundance. Most of us have more than we realize. More than most people in history ever had. More than millions of people alive today have. Not to make you feel bad, but to shift perspective. To see that the emptiness isn't from lacking things, it's from not appreciating things. None of these tools are perfect. None of them will stop you from ever buying things you don't need. But they create possibilities, moments where you can choose. And each time you use one, you're strengthening a different pattern. A pattern of awareness instead of automaticity, of choice instead of compulsion. The goal isn't to never shop. Shopping can be pleasant. Things can be useful and beautiful. The goal is to shop consciously, to buy things because you genuinely want them, not because you're trying to fix a feeling or fill a hole. To shop from abundance, not from lack. Next, and finally, we'll look at what actually does bring lasting satisfaction. Because if shopping doesn't, what does? What fills the space in a way that lasts? Let's explore a different kind of satisfaction. There's a kind of satisfaction that shopping can never give you. It's quieter, less flashy. It doesn't come with packaging or a notification that it's on its way. But it lasts. It builds. It actually fills the space instead of just covering it temporarily. It comes from very simple things. Things that don't cost money. Things that require time and attention instead of a credit card. And the strange thing is, we all know this. We all know what actually makes us feel good. But we forget. We get distracted by the easier, faster option, by the promise of the purchase. Think about the last time you felt truly content. Not excited, not entertained, but deeply content. What were you doing? You probably weren't shopping. You probably weren't even thinking about things you wanted to buy. You were probably doing something entirely different. Maybe you were with someone you care about, really talking, really connecting. Maybe you were creating something, making something with your hands or your mind. Maybe you were outside, noticing the world around you. Maybe you were helping someone. Maybe you were learning something genuinely interesting. Maybe you were resting, actually resting, without guilt or distraction. These moments don't promise anything. They don't sparkle or shine. They're not designed to catch your attention, but they satisfy in a way that lasts. Hours later, days later, you can think back on them and still feel good. That's the difference. Purchases give you a moment of excitement that fades quickly. Real experiences give you something that stays. Let me tell you about Thomas. He spent years buying things, good things, nice things. His apartment was full, but he felt empty. One weekend, a friend invited him hiking. Thomas didn't want to go. He wasn't a hiking person. He didn't have the right gear, but his friend insisted, so he went. They spent the day walking through forests, talking, being quiet, noticing things. No phones, no shopping, no distractions. Thomas felt something he hadn't felt in years, a sense of peace, of being present, of being enough without doing anything or having anything, just existing in the world, moving his body, breathing air, being with a friend. When he got home, his apartment full of things looked different. All those objects seemed less important. The experience, the simple experience of being outside with someone, had filled something that shopping never could. This is what research shows again and again. Experiences bring more lasting happiness than possessions. Not expensive experiences, not trips to exotic places, just real moments, conversations, walks, creating something, playing music, cooking a meal and sharing it, reading a book that makes you think, sitting with someone in comfortable silence. These things require presence. That's their secret. When you're shopping, part of your mind is in the future, imagining having the thing, imagining being different. But when you're in a real experience, you're here, now. And being fully present is what actually satisfies. It's what your brain really craves underneath all the wanting. Connection satisfies in a way things never can. Real connection, where someone sees you, where you see them, where you're not performing or pretending, where you can be exactly who you are. This is what we're often looking for when we shop. We want to feel seen, valued, enough. But things can't give us that. Only other humans can. Creating something satisfies deeply too. It doesn't have to be art. It doesn't have to be good. Just making something with your own effort, your own decisions, your own energy. Cooking a meal, writing something, fixing something, growing something, building something. The act of creation tells you that you're capable, that you can bring something into the world, that you matter. Not because of what you own, but because of what you do. Movement satisfies. Your body wants to move, to walk, to dance, to stretch, to work. When you move, chemicals release that make you feel good. Not dopamine, not the wanting chemical. Different ones. Endorphins, serotonin, the actually satisfied chemicals. And unlike shopping, the good feeling from movement lasts. You feel better for hours, sometimes days. Learning satisfies when it's real learning. Not buying a course, not collecting information, but actually understanding something new. Struggling with it, getting confused, then suddenly seeing it clearly. That moment of understanding, of growth, fills you in a way that's hard to describe. It's your brain doing what it's designed to do. Growing, changing, becoming more capable. Helping someone satisfies in a unique way. When you do something that genuinely helps another person without expecting anything back, something shifts in you. You feel useful, valuable, part of something larger than yourself. This is the opposite of shopping, which is focused on you, on getting, on having. Helping is about giving, and giving paradoxically fills you more than receiving. Rest satisfies when you actually allow it. Not scrolling while lying down, not shopping while calling it relaxation, but real rest, where you're not doing anything, not consuming anything, not producing anything, just being, just letting your body and mind recover. We're so afraid of this. We fill every moment. But emptiness isn't bad. Boredom isn't bad. There's spaces where satisfaction can grow. Here's what all these things have in common. They require you to show up. They require time, attention, effort. They're not easy or instant. You can't click a button and receive them in 2 days. But that's exactly why they work. Because you have to invest yourself. And when you invest yourself, you get something real back. Shopping is passive. You browse, you click, you wait. The satisfaction, if it comes at all, comes from outside you, from the thing. But these other sources of satisfaction are active. They come from you, from your choices, from your engagement with life, and that makes them lasting. This doesn't mean you never buy things. Things have their place. They can be useful. They can be beautiful. They can support your real life. Good shoes help you walk. Good tools help you create. A comfortable chair helps you rest. The difference is in the relationship. Are you buying things to support your life? Or are you buying things instead of living your life? When you understand what actually satisfies, shopping becomes simpler. You buy what you need. You buy what genuinely adds value. But you stop expecting it to fix how you feel. You stop expecting it to make you complete, because you're finding completeness elsewhere. In connection, in creation, in presence, in being alive, fully, right where you are. The next time you feel that urge to buy something, pause. Ask yourself what you really need. Not what thing, but what experience, what human need, and then meet that need directly. Go talk to someone. Go make something. Go move your body. Go help someone. Go rest. Go be present with your own life. You might be surprised. The urge to shop will fade, and in its place, you'll find something better. Something that doesn't arrive in a box. Something that doesn't cost money. Something that's been available all along, waiting for you to notice it. Satisfaction isn't somewhere else. It's not in the next purchase. It's not in having more or being different. It's in being here, now, fully, with whatever you have, with whoever you are. That's enough. You're enough. You always have been. If one idea from this conversation stayed with you, I'd genuinely be curious which one it was. But more than anything, I hope this helps you see that moment of wanting a little differently. That moment when you're about to buy something. Because in that moment, you have a choice. And that choice can change everything.